Everyone, my name is Kim. I hope you remember me from my other tutorials. If not, if this is your first tutorial with me, welcome. I am your Muse Ambassador Program Manager, and I have Meredith here today.
Hello.
She is part of our customer care team where she takes care of our customers, also you. So Meredith also helps us run Muse classes. She's also a yoga instructor, and she's been doing that for 8 years, so she has a lot of experience running classes.
So I'm here to give you some tips and tricks on running hopefully a really smooth and enjoyable, unique Muse meditation class. So first, I think it's helpful to talk about planning a Muse class and doing that in a way that is as least stressful as possible. So one of the major points that I would suggest is kind of have your numbers in mind. Have definitely a max participant number and maybe a minimum number, but definitely a max. So you can kind of manage how many people you have in the room using Muse versus how many people you have facilitating the class. So then the sweet spot or the number that we found is 4 people using per one teacher or one facilitator. Another really helpful tool that we use is having like a tech helper, so someone that's there just to help with any kind of technical issue. So it could be like, I can't turn up my volume on my phone, or something more Muse related, like I can't seem to get the headband to get good signal quality, which could be related to a fit. So I like to think of this person as sort of managing the tech in the room, and the facilitator is managing the energy in the room and being more of the meditation guider.
Once we have the numbers down, like what's next? What should I plan for?
Yeah. What we did in this last Muse class was create these little Muse kits, and this was hugely helpful to making this last class really smooth. So we have these cases, they're Muse cases.
The new Muse cases, by the way, so slick. I love these.
Yeah. So we brought pre-paired devices. So that means that we paired them via Bluetooth before heading into this event. So in the case, you've got we're using iPods, but you've got an iPod, headphones, and your Muse. Depending on your type of session, you may want to give headphones. We also included alcohol rubbing swabs for people that wanted to make sure that their headphones were clean. Yeah, you can also use headphones that go over your ears. Headphones are helpful if you are doing classes where you're actually using the real-time biofeedback.
Yes.
So that means that students are using the headband not just to get their post-session data, but they're using the biofeedback in the moment to bring their mind back to the breath, back to their bodies. That way you're not having like people using their speakerphones on their phones, so there's like biofeedback everywhere in their room.
Yeah.
So each person is in their own experience. That being said, you can also do the other option, which is have the real-time biofeedback turned off. And then you can also be leading your own meditation as a teacher, depending on if you're working with whatever theme you want.
So in that case, the headband would just be tracking the brain activity, and the facilitator would be doing the guidance.
Yes. Yeah. If that's the route you're taking, you will just want to go into the settings in the app and turn all the volume down. All the knobs go all the way to the left. Another thing to keep in mind here is your timer and the exercises that you have planned. We suggest setting the timer always for a little bit longer than your actual meditation plan or time length. So if you're doing a session that's 9 minutes long, have your timer set for 20 minutes or 30 or an hour. This gives you time to troubleshoot any sort of fit issues, Bluetooth drops, basically anything that can come up. You're giving yourself a buffer to be able to walk around the room and help anyone out that might have an interruption in their meditation. With that being said, you also have to manage the room. So you'll have to set your own timer. You as the teacher need to know that, okay, everybody in the room has completed signal quality, has completed calibration. We're starting our 9-minute meditation. I've noted I've noted the start time of the session. And then you'll be the one, not the app, that's ending the meditation. So you could do that with a chime alarm in your phone or a gong or any sort of like sound alarm. And you've filled in your students that you are the one that's ending the meditation.
Will you teach us how to wear a Muse and how to help others wear a Muse?
Yes.
So, like what to look for.
Yeah. So once you've got people with their little package, one of the languaging cues that I have found helpful is to think of the Muse as like putting on a pair of sunglasses. So sometimes if not someone's never seen this, they might be like put it, like a headband or whatever. So sunglasses is like a pretty clear, universal way to describe putting the Muse on. You'll want to make sure that all your hair is up. I've mentioned that a couple times, but it's a really big one in classes, I find. So you want to make sure that this rubber conductor is touching the back of, touching the skin at the back of your ears. So first I would say get a really snug fit. There's these teeth on the side of both the Muse 2 and the original Muse that allow you to slide in and slide out. So what I usually do is get a fit that almost feels like too snug and then kind of loosen it from there. Once you get this snug fit, a little trick that I was taught is to pull the ear piece here out to the side slightly, and then you can take the opposite hand and just do one last little check to get the hair out behind your ears, and then maybe give it one more little adjustment. Yeah, that's kind of the key little trick to a good fit.
Oh, and just one more thing. These gold sensors here. So you want to make sure that this flex is sitting flat against the head. There are all sorts of different head shapes. I've seen a lot of them. So sometimes you might need to fidget how high or low it needs to sit on the forehead so that the flex is flat against the forehead.
When looking at your mind session graph, you will see a line, and it traverses along the length of 3 different categories. These are categories that Muse has identified or created, and they are calm, neutral, and active. I'll start with neutral, considering it's sort of like your baseline experience. So everything is compared back to this state. Your graph will show you when you veered to a more active state from this neutral baseline experience, and also when you dropped into a more calm state from this baseline experience. So the peaks represent the more active veers, and the valleys represent the more sort of like tuned in calm drops, if you will. So at the bottom of your graph, you'll see these cute little blue birds, and birds are basically 5 or more seconds in a calm state. Recoveries, which are the coolest in my opinion, are they represent your ability to pull yourself back from an active moment. So a moment maybe where you were thinking about your grocery list as opposed to your breath, and it's your ability to pull from the grocery list back to your breath. So in that way, it's like your ability to, and taught me this, to build the mindfulness muscle. So in that way, it's cool to see this because it's like you can see yourself getting stronger, almost like improving your ability to lift a weight or to run a marathon. The other cool thing about birds is that they can also be like a marker in your meditation where you're like, oh yeah, I remember that moment where I had like 5 consecutive birds. So you can see in your meditation where those were, and it sort of is like this, it can be a talking point in a group class, like, oh, I had a lot of birds at the beginning, whereas someone decided you had a lot of birds at the end, and you can use them to talk about how your session went and compare it to your neighbor or whoever.
One last thing before we wrap up. on cleaning. Since you're running classes, I hope you're also sanitizing your Muses and headphones if you're providing them. So what we normally use is some alcohol wipes. So we'll just wipe it down, and some people ask like if that's okay, and yes, it's totally okay. It's a very sensitive piece of device, but also very durable. And with headphones, sometimes what we would do is we'll spray them down with we'll put a bit of alcohol in these spray bottles and spray them down and then wipe it up. And that's pretty much it.
And one last thing, one last tip, going back to this kit that we created that I forgot to mention this, but if you're leading a class with say like 10 or more people, I would recommend labeling your device and labeling your Muse. This sticker just reminded me. So we did like G2 as in like group member 2, and then this headband would be G2. So then say if for some reason, after class people got trading Muses or devices, that when you're putting your stuff away, you know that G2 goes with G2. These are paired. This is a smooth, ready to go kit. So that was also something that was pretty helpful.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that pre-pairing is so key for a smooth class. Mm-hmm. Some people, when they start running class, and actually some of you have told me where you've tried to run a class and you're like, oh, I didn't think setup would take so long. Mm-hmm. Some of you have been trying to pair on the spot, so maybe you have 10 Muses turned on and you have your device and you're like, there are 10 different Muses listed here. Which one goes with which one? So that is a great way. That's a wonderful, wonderful tip. So yeah, that's all we have for you. Mm-hmm. We love hearing from you, and I love doing these tutorials for you. So please let me know other tutorials that you'd like to see, or any other questions that you have, and we'll get on it. Bye, everyone.